Run It Studios is the home of the Run Radio podcast and runradio.net, a podcast and station about the relentless, resilient, and innovative types, inspiring strides in life, business, and beyond. Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name is Trina Wilcox, and my guest today was introduced by another podcast host, Shelley Dryman, who has been a guest on my podcast and has Empower Her Wellness podcast. And she talks all things caregiver, health and wellness. I talk about those who are relentlessly resilient and innovative in what they do, which brings me to Wesley Michael. Welcome. Thank you for being here with Rare Patient Voices.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a terrific pleasure to be here with you, Trina.
So what made you want to create Rare Patient Voices in the first place?
Well, I guess it's like a lot of things, a lot of different things, and they kind of come together in the same way. Because my background was always market research, asking people, learning about their thoughts about Cheerios and spices and things like that. And then I got involved in the healthcare field, and I found, well, people love their spices and their Cheerios, but what's more important than their health or their kids' health, right? They're so eager. And then I got involved in some rare diseases, and people really are interested in talking and helping with that, but it's tough for the companies that want to hear from to find them.
Yeah.
So I got involved then. A company asked us to create a panel of people with hemophilia, very rare condition. And we started that, and I didn't know how else to do it, but go to where they are. And for example, there's big national hemophilia conferences every year. So we went there, we set up a table. You know how people have the tables and the signs, and we explained it to people, which is the best thing at all, is talking in person, right? They ask questions, and people would sign up, and it worked. We invite them to do surveys and interviews. And I did that for another company I was working with. And that was great. I loved it, and it worked out well. But every year we'd go back. In this case, we'd go back to that hemophilia conference. And one year, somebody came up to me from a different company and said, "Hey, I hear you have this group of hemophilia patients. Can we access it?" And well, the answer is no, because if client A pays for it, client B can't have it. But that gave me the idea. Why not create a group of people that aren't beholden to any one company, that can answer questions, relevant surveys and interviews from anybody? And I had that idea, and for many years I had it and didn't do anything about it, right? But everything came together for me. Now it's 11 years ago, and I said, I'm going to start this. I'm going to go out, and I figured out a name, Rare Patient Voice. And guess what? I started with hemophilia. Because I had done it before, et cetera. And so that was the start. Now we've got cover over 1,500 different conditions and diseases. We pay folks for taking part. So they love to do it. They tell us anything that can help. But on top of that, we think their time is valuable. We pay people $120 an hour of their time. We paid out over $13 million to patients. So it's been a real win-win. People love to do it. They get compensated. Our clients are research firms that work for companies. It's a win for them because they really want to hear from people. And so it's worked out so well. It's kind of helped everybody along the way.
So just to give a little background, if someone goes to rarepatientvoices.com, what can they give them a little overall the about for, like, well, is it for me? Is it for my person? Or tell them kind of exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So the neat thing is, it's a lot of different things. We invite people that are patients with different conditions, but caregivers. So you might be a mom of a kid with something. You might have a parent with Alzheimer's, right? There's a lot of caregivers, and my heart's out to them because nobody knows how hard they work. And so we'll take people, and then we there's buttons all over the website, and we like to answer every question because we love it when people have questions. But people sign up, it'll say, well, what conditions or diseases do you have? Because unfortunately, I didn't realize this when I started. People often don't have just one. You have one thing, you have others. It's like it's when it rains, it pours. It's not very fair, but it's the way it is. And we say mention everything you might have, because we get requests for it, and you get more opportunities if you want to share your opinion. and get paid. So we asked people all, and then we started with rare. And that was I thought that's what the need was. I thought, well, they want people that are more common, like people with asthma or people with anxiety or people with diabetes. They'll have the same way I would find a Cheerio eater.
Yeah.
But I was wrong. Turns out clients love for that. So we started with rare, and now we say also non-rare.
Yeah.
So rare and non-rare, that's kind of anything, because everybody's unique in their own,
Yes.
right? Everything is rare if you think about it. Nobody's exactly the same. So we love to let anybody come in with any condition and any people they may care for. And then when we may have nothing for you in 3 months. We may have 2 things in a week. It's what we never know. But over time, we'll do well over 1,000 studies in a year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's amazing. I didn't know that we would be so popular, but we get requests all the time across any and all conditions, that a lot of which I had never heard of when we started.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with, and every disease is worse than the one before. You know what I mean? It's like people, and it's amazing to me because I love when we go out to these events where people come, and you know how a lot of, how there's races and walks sponsoring for diseases. It's all about you. We love to go to those events and educational forums stuff, because you meet people and they hear their stories, and it's always amazing to me. People could have a kid with such a horrible condition, but they're there fighting, making awareness, learning, and it's amazing the spirit we see. And then I have to remind myself, I'm not seeing them the day they got diagnosed. I get it. That was probably a bad day, but it's just amazing what people, the spirit that people bring to this, and what people do to help themselves and their loved ones. And and I love to see that, because it's like, it makes you think, how would I handle that if that were me? It's so difficult.
There's something really special about being able to provide a resource, or, any information you have that could make it easier for somebody else. And I think that's
so true.
fantastic. Yeah.
Because everybody's gone through, like, you hear that too when we go to these events. It's like, you get the people that have been in it for a while. They may have lost a loved one, and they're still coming to that event to see others. And there's the brand new people. They're somebody's just been, and it's so good that them to hear, wait a minute, other people have gone through it before. They can point you to some resources, help you, tell you certain things, answer your questions. And then I see people at some of our events that are setting up like a nonprofit, a patient advocacy group. And that's not easy. There's all, how do you start something brand new, and there's laws and funding, and other people have done it. So they have tips and tricks here. Oh, make sure you do this. So people and they're so willing to help. People are so happy to say, hey, I learned this the hard way. Let me make it a little easier for you.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the only way we get through it and closer to, hopefully, a cure for these things. But at least, if you got to live with it in the least negative impactful way possible.
Right.
So I've been to your website, and I went through the process of, from the end user. So what's it like on the back end? Once you get something from a user that inputs all their data, like I noticed you said it may not be a while before I hear something. So how is it working? You got experts behind the scenes sifting through these, and what's it like?
Yeah. So at the same time that we're going and meeting patients and caregivers and such, we work with the research industry and such, and we'll go to conferences. And LinkedIn is great for that. It's kind of like the Facebook for the business side. And we'll find folks all the time and say, oh, we're doing a study on lupus, and we need to find, and we'll find people all the time like that. We say, well, send us your requests. And what we like to do is target it. I don't want to go to somebody with lupus for a gout study. You know what I mean? We don't want to waste people's time. That's very annoying. So we like to target the best as best we can. And then our key method is email. So we always tell, check your email, because if you're like me, I have a personal email, which I don't always, it gets filled. Every once in a while I clean it out and block the spam, but the key is whatever email you give us, that's where we're going to send it. We're not going to call, because who answers the phone, and that's a little intrusive, but we'll send an email. But we like to make it simple. Right in the headline, the subject, we'll say the key things. We'll say 30-minute hemophilia online survey, $60 reward, and then oh, wait a minute, what's this? And then people can open it up and see it, and they can say, I'm busy this week. Let me just tell them not to bother me with this, or wait a minute, I like to do this. Let me click here and see if I qualify. So it's all about email. We get people that'll say, I got that, and by the time I got to it, the study was full. And it's like, I feel bad, but I said, next time be faster, but yeah, so we try to make it. And then for when every time we have what we call them a project. So every time we have a project, and we'll have 200 or some projects going on at any one time, but they're assigned to different project managers. So you get an email from that person. You can ask them anything and everything. Usually it's pretty clear. We try to make it clear. And again, people don't like to read books and books, right? They like bullet points. So we try to do that. But if there's any question at all, we're around. We have real people that answer the phone and do that. Now, so what people will do is they're interested, they'll click. Once they get that email, there's something to click on there. We don't share anybody's info. We don't sell. You never get an email from us selling. All we do is send when we have a study. And so we'll send and say, okay, you're interested in this study. And usually they have certain questions, because they might not want everyone with a certain disease. They won't want people taking a certain drug or a certain age. And we can't tell you all that, because you have to make it blind from that point of view. But people will go through that. And then when they qualify, if it's an interview, they'll set up a time. If it's a survey, they usually go right into it and start clicking away. And then when they're done, when the study is done, so say you've done on a Tuesday, but they're waiting for 50 more people, and the study's from Friday. So I don't want to exaggerate here, but say it's done on a Friday, we collect all that, and then every week we send out checks. We actually pay old-fashioned way with checks, because people have told us, gift cards are nice, but I have co-pays, or I have rent. And, so many people with different conditions, it's affected them financially, and they can't just take an Amazon card. They can't pay the rent with Amazon card. So we do that, and we get it out as fast as we can. And now, by popular demand now, people will actually pay with PayPal or Venmo, that kind of thing. Yeah. So we like to give people flexibility, but we like to get it as soon as we can, because we know how people, once you do it, around the holidays, people are like, thank you so much. This really helped. I was able to purchase gifts and things like that. So we want people to like us. We're in it for the long haul. It's not just one study. It's like we want you to be in. You may do one in a few years. You might do 5 in a few, but somebody's going to be interested in your opinion, and we want you to be happy to do it and feel that you got rewarded for it.
For sure, certainly. What about for researchers? What do you offer for researchers that come to your website?
So for them, we actually put on the website the number of people, the number of patients and caregivers by disease or condition, by country, because we're not just US, we're in Europe and Australia and New Zealand and Canada. And so we put it, because so often, if you're a researcher, the key thing on your mind is, what do I need today? I'm doing a study of myasthenia gravis, and I want to talk to, do they have any? Boom, they can see right on our website, oh, they have many hundreds of these people. Let me contact them. So we like to work the same way with them. As soon as they ask, we have a wonderful team of folks. Within a couple of hours, they'll get, here's what we have, here's what we can get, here's what it will cost. And a lot of times they'll say, let's get started, and we'll start that day. Or it might take a while, but we're ready to boom, push the button and get started, because it's hard to think of, but before we did this, typically when somebody wanted to talk to patients, they were in it for the long haul. They're like, let's try to find some, maybe doctors can't give us names, but maybe they can put the word out. Let's start it. Maybe it'll take us a month or 2 to find people. And we've kind of turned it upside down. We've already found people by going to the events and working with people and having referral partners. And we reach out and they start doing things right away. So for those client side, the researchers, people love it. They said, I don't know what we've done before this, because we can get started right away for them.
So what do they have to provide to prove that they are legitimate? Because
Yeah.
As me being the patient, I wouldn't want anybody to think, well, I'm just going to conduct my own survey here and
Yeah. Yeah.
go
Yeah.
get on. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, well, we deal with a select group of clients who that we know. We know them. We've worked with them. They're reputable, and you can look them up. You know, they're so, and they're not just big companies. There's big things like a Kantar or Ipsos and such, but there's small like moderators. You know, like a focus group moderator that people love to death, but they need help. So we meet these folks and we check them out, and knock on wood,
Yeah.
anything happen, but we have a wonderful relationship. Now, from time to time, we'll get feedback, and usually it's very positive feedback. Like, oh, that was such a nice interview. I feel so good. I learned so much. But from time to time, if there's criticism, we'll pass that along because,
Yeah.
you can't, and not everybody's perfect, but somebody might feel like that person I talked to didn't really know the disease that well. Well, we'll pass that along. Maybe it was the first interview they were doing, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
we like to pass along any feedback we get. But after each study, we let everybody that participated, we give them a little, how when you buy at the Home Depot, whatever, they give you a survey. And like, if you're like me, you don't usually do it. But we ask them, how did it go? And on a scale of 1 to 10, and give us any open-end comments. And we average from those, from everybody that does studies, over 9.5 out of 10. And then they give us wonderful comments. And every month we go through and read these comments to the team because I love to hear people say, thank you so much. I love being a part of this. I learned so much. And on top of that, I got paid. So it's really neat to get the feedback from people. And when somebody says, hey, it took me too long to get paid, we look into that and say, why did that take so long? And we'll try to speed things up. So we really take seriously the feedback, but it's so good to get feedback, right? I'm sure in your podcast, you love it when people
Sure.
respond to you because it's like you don't want to be talking and not knowing what they're thinking.
Talk a little bit about the referral program.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So, I said we started out by going to events, and I'm like, well, this is good, and when it's just me, I can't go everywhere, right?
Yeah.
How could I be everywhere? I remember I went, took my daughter to Albuquerque. We're in Baltimore, Albuquerque, so it was a nice trip. A weekend, we went to the MS Walk, and then it's in a Saturday morning. The rest of the weekend, we were able to tour around. It was very fun. But and I remember meeting people there and signing up. And I remember one woman said, "I get it. I get it." She was so well connected in the MS community, not just in Albuquerque. With Facebook and such, she knew people everywhere. And so over time, we said, "Wait a minute. This is how we love to go to events, but this is how we spread further." And so we created a referral program. What we do is, and individuals can do it, and advocacy groups and foundations. We have all across the map. And we want to give people credit for them. We don't ask them to give us names because that wouldn't be right. What we do is say, look, we'll give you this link. You can post it or email it or put it on your Facebook, however you want to spread it around. And then what that does is lead people, just like you went to the website, it leads them to the website. If they're interested, still totally voluntary, they can sign up. But since they went through that link, we know to give you credit because you did it. Every week we go through, just like we pay people for studies, we pay people $10 for each person that signs up through their link. So as I say, nobody's going to get rich doing this. This is Elon Musk thing, but we have some people that make it like a job or part-time job, and they're getting hundreds or even thousands of dollars at a time. We have now 5,000 referral partners across all sorts of conditions and different countries. And we love it. And we have a wonderful team that works with them. We call it our patient advocacy team. And they help. They'll say, you can create your own poster, but they'll say, hey, if you like, here's some artwork, here's some stuff. They have this stuff that people can use. Because a lot of people, it's like, well, where do I start, right? So it's nice to get them started. So every week, so many people sign up because of this referral program. And guess what? They're real. There's a big problem in research with fraud. Well, anything, fraud, right? Anywhere there's the internet or there's money, there's fraud. And we go to research conferences, and some people say, oh, there's fraud. And then I go, what are you talking about? I say, well, not from you guys. I'm like, oh, because we've met people. Nobody's going to the lupus walk to be a fake. You know what I mean? People are going out of the way, going to these events. We find that. And then the referral, people are not referring scams or whatever. we find it's I call it golden. They're the people that refer good people, and our clients really appreciate it because they don't want to talk to fakes, and they could tell if you were talking to somebody for an hour on a Zoom, you pretty much figure out if they were Googling every answer, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you have to be really quick on you.
Yeah.
So it's really worked out, but I love it. If anybody's interested in that, there's information on our website, or they could contact me, or we'll put them in touch, maybe you have notes or something there, but we can put them in touch and send them information because we love our referral partners. They usually do surveys as well because often they have a condition or they're a caregiver. And then because people know other people, they're in a support group, they're on a Facebook page. And we love it too because we can tell people, hey, we do it. We're honest. We want to do everything right. We were AAA and Better Business Bureau, but we can tell people that. But if they're like me, they're still going to be skeptical, right? But if they know somebody and they say, I did a survey, I did an interview and got 120 and I really enjoyed it. That's the best publicity you can get. So we love it. People say it, do it, and they spread the word. That's better than me, saying it.
Yeah, they say word of mouth is the best representation you can get. And
there's nothing better than a real life person that's gone through it, especially if you know them and trust them, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to lead you. They're not going to try to give their friends a bad deal. So
no. And like you said, these are people that are going through it and know the ins and outs and wanting to make everything as better and easy on others as possible.
Yep.
What's your newsletter all about?
Oh, I love our newsletter, but so again, normally we're only contacting people when we get a request that matches what they've told us they have. And then we thought, well, let's keep a little bit in more contact. So every month or so, we'll send it out, and we have different things. We'll highlight one of our employees because people say, I've dealt, because you want to get to know that, right? People are real people. You want to get who is behind the scenes. We'll highlight somebody that's in our panel, a patient or a caregiver, because a lot of times people make videos for us, and we love them. We'll put that on. We'll even give a list because a lot of studies we do, as I say, people, I didn't get it. It closed too fast. But there's often a lot where we tell the client, look, you wanted 50 people with that rare disease. Based on what we have, we might get you 10, but we'll do our best. But we'll put into the newsletter, I'll list a lot of these open things so that people can spread the word. Hey, they're looking for people. I think my cousin has that, or that kind of thing. So we like to spread the word about that. So it's kind of like a brief newsy notes of what's new and what we've learned and what's going on, and keep people engaged and involved, but not a daily email. It's in your inbox. It's monthly or that kind of a timeline.
Sounds good. What do you see on the horizon for Rare Patient Voices? Do you expect it to change in any capacity?
That's a good question. I mean, every year we've been growing because it's a good trend. Companies, what do they call themselves? Patient-centric. All the healthcare companies want to be paid. Well, they should be. Those are the people using but they're saying it and they're starting to do it. Let's talk. They have to talk to physicians. Of course, they have to talk to healthcare professionals, but let's talk to the people that will or do use our product. So we're seeing that grow. What we've found is a couple things. My background, as I said, was market research, asking people questions about their opinions. We found out there's a ton of companies trying to bring new products to market. They need to conduct clinical trials. Now, we don't conduct it. We don't take blood or anything, but we can let people know about those. Because our folks have said, I'm interested in research and I or my loved one have a condition. So we're happy to send that email and say, hey, here's a clinical trial you might be interested in. So to us, we're spreading the word out because there's so many trials. And if you're a pharmaceutical or biotech company, you can't get your drug approved without doing a clinical trial. And with rare diseases, it's even harder to find people. So we're happy to be part of that solution, help them do that, help these drugs get to market. And, some people are eagerly looking for a clinical trial. It might be what saves them, or their loved one. And at the very least, it might help others get a drug that's approved down the road. So that's a new thing for us. We're focusing, in addition to our market research, on clinical trial research.
So you've been very involved in this. How personal has it gotten for you? Are you a rare patient? Do you have a rare patient voice or someone you know?
Yeah, it's funny, well, it's funny not in a funny sense, but when I got into this, I was not personally affected, where so many are. So many
Mhm.
people, um, and but as we've spread it out, as one of our guys says, everybody's got something. I mean, they're talking about 10,000 rare diseases, and different people have different things, and I run into a lot. One of the things that's brought it home to us, but has been wonderful for our company, is so much of our staff, so many of our employees come from the rare disease community, and that wasn't a plan, but it worked out so well. Like as I said, it was just me, and then I'd hire somebody, and then we'd go to a patient event, and a person would come up, and they'd be interested in doing some work for us, and we say, hey, they can go to events for us. They can be in their city, and we put them as a part-timer, and they would get the tablecloth and the signage and the clipboards and such. And then over time, so many of those, or we'd say, oh, we need another person running projects. And somebody would say, hey, I'm interested in more full-time work. And we say, hey, this person has a lot on the ball. So it really worked out well, such that so many of our folks came from that rare disease community. And I love it because they know both sides of the equation. They know projects and clients and all, but they can speak for the patient too. It's
Mhm.
not just a number in a game. These are real people, and I know what it's like. And if somebody misses an interview, I'm sympathetic because I get it. Because if you have to run to the hospital, you're not going to do some survey. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's brought us, me personally, so much closer. And I have to admit, sometimes I forget some of our folks, for example, have MS, and you wouldn't know it because we're all remote. They work so well, and I remember I say, geez, they're working so well. How are they doing it? Because I know you get flare-ups. There's different things. So it brings it to life. It's for real, because people with these conditions, they also have a life. They have a
Yeah.
family. And it's not, they have to sacrifice a lot for themselves or their loved ones, but they still have to live a life. So it's worked out well for us to bring them into the fold and help us grow and stay true to the mission, if you will. So.
Yeah.
Think folks.
Excellent. What's the best way people can help and support Rare Patient Voice?
Well, if they're a patient or a caregiver, I encourage, if they don't want to do surveys, fine. I'm not gonna, but if they're interested in sharing their voice and get on top of that, get compensated, simply the website is rarepatientvoice.com, and you'll see buttons all over sign up, but all information, and we're, any question, and I'd rather, ask. I much prefer people ask if they want to understand something, but they sign up, and then they'll start getting invitations. And to be honest, we go through them very carefully. So you could sign up, and it could take a few weeks.
Mhm.
And I hate that in this one sense, because when people sign up, they're eager,
Yeah.
but we can't just let anybody online that came in. So it can take a few weeks. So that's the one. And then if people are interested in as a referral partner, there's also you probably have to search a little harder on the website, but there's a place there. And then, but our contact information, our emails, research at we'll get it, and we'll send the information. So we're eager for people to take part and to spread the word.
Thank you so much for sharing with me today. I appreciate it. I think this is a wonderful platform. I think you're doing great things, and people are going to be better for it.
Well, it's been great. This is the one thing I've done in my life. It's like a win-win for everybody. The
Yeah.
patients feel like it's a win. They're able to express their opinions and they get paid. The clients, they're able to they do more work and talk to more people because it's possible. And then we're able to grow as a company and reward people. So it's been a win all the way around. So happy to share the word, and thank you for all that you're doing to help us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Come back anytime. Be sure you're following along. You can connect over to the videos or listen online, all at runradio.net.